Hello, welcome back to the show Everything Under the Sun, where we talk about everything under the sun, but
Yay!
indoors. As you can see, we are back, but physically
With a new human being.
with a new human being. So
Because Isaac left us.
Isaac left the podcast, and now we're ushering in a new season. We have a new regular. No, I'm just kidding. Today we have a very special a guest on the show. He's a close friend of ours. Hello, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi, I am Anthony. I am, I guess, self-proclaimed Isaac's best friend. Because he always appears in my karangans when I was in primary school.
Wow.
So, yes, it's a very big honor to be here. I've always asked to be on this show because, I feel really excluded that Isaac didn't invite me or anything. So here I am
Some best
after
friend,
so
huh?
many pesterings.
Nice. Hello, Anthony. Welcome. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we just dive right into it, right? So today, we have you here discussing a very special topic, a topic that's close to our hearts, given
Really
that
close.
we're all, yeah, today we're just talking about the whole idea of singlehood, right? So to start off, the question: are you all single? And if you are single, why are you single?
Hmm.
Simple question.
Am I single?
Are
Am
you
I?
single?
I am single. Why am I single?
Why are you single?
Uh, the the fisherman hasn't caught any fish yet lah.
What is what is that supposed to
I'll
mean?
just put it that way.
The fisherman hasn't caught any fish
Yeah.
because there's no fish.
No fish yet.
No fish yet.
Yeah, the fish haven't bite the bait yet.
Haven't bite the bait. Haven't bite the bait. Okay. Right. That's good. Anthony, what about you?
I can be single, I cannot be single, but I would say I choose to be single because um how do I say this? Because I feel like if I cannot love myself fully, I cannot love someone else fully. That's why I am unabling myself to become taken.
So basically, you're off the market.
Yes, I put myself off the market. Correct.
Okay, because you're not ready for a relationship.
Correct.
Okay. Very, very deep. But yeah, so I guess the reason why I say that it's close to our hearts is because we're all single human beings. We're all single guys.
Yeah.
The thing with single guys is that it gets lonely. I don't know. Does it get lonely for you guys?
No, not really.
Just
lah.
okay? Just being single?
I think I'm doing just fine.
Because I feel like we're at the age where guys our age or just people our age are just trying to get into relationships
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. And just today we're going to discuss the whole idea of singlehood in relation to whether a human being can be self-sufficient. Because I feel like we live in a day and age where everyone is just like, I can be my own person. I don't need another person by my side, that kind of thing. And with the whole feminist movement and things like that, lah, right? So maybe let's just bring up the question. Do you think we humans can be self-sufficient?
Yes. And yes.
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 Okay.
Okay. What is self-sufficient? What?
Okay,
how,
when I say self-sufficient, I mean self-sufficient lah. It's like
Like you can do things on your by yourself.
like you don't okay, I wouldn't say like you don't need another person to survive, because like I would say that all of us don't really need another person to survive. We've been surviving for 18 years without another person. But it's more like, can a person continue living life by themselves? I don't know.
I'll say yeah. There are some people who are still by themselves even at the age of, I don't know, 40, 50, and yet they're still happy lah, I guess.
Right.
So I think that one person can be self-sufficient, and it really comes down to how someone defines self-sufficient also.
It's true lah.
Yeah,
It's
correct.
true, it's true, it's true.
Because like one person can say self-sufficient is like oh yeah, as long as everything is going my way, everything's fine, then I'm so-called self-sufficient lah. But another person can say like self-sufficient to me is more like um all the boxes are checked. Everything is basically there's nothing really happening in my life. And I can do everything in my power to sustain myself. So I
Okay.
think yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. How about you, Anthony? What is your definition of like?
I think my definition of self-sufficient definitely varies from time to time. For now, I would think being self-sufficient wise without a relationship means I'm able to earn my own money, spend my own money, and be self-sufficient on an emotional level. Cause like I don't need that intimacy right now of because of like lockdown and everything that has been taken away from me. So I think self-sufficient to me right now is being, I guess, being able to find that assurance and the acceptance within myself rather than having to find it from other people. Because that's really what it means to be sufficient. When you have that, everything else doesn't matter anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true lah. And I mean I really agree with what the both of you say. I just think that they are just like like what you said just now, like about why you're single, right? Because you feel like you're not ready to enter into a relationship if you're not able to like love if you're not able to love yourself, then you wouldn't be able to fully love other people. And I feel like the thing about relationships nowadays that people just jump in it too quick, because in the sense I will put it to be bluntly, they are not really self-sufficient. Like let's say people in a relationship, they're going into a relationship to look for like certain stuff, to look for like intimacy or to look for love from the other person
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And I feel like in that case it's just better to stay single lah, right?
Mm.
Like to think about it, do you think a clingy person is like not self-sufficient?
Hmm. Clingy. Uh, I would say is the question is being is someone being clingy not self sufficient? Is it?
No, okay. Why like basically I just bring it up to ask like why are some people so clingy? Is it cause like they're just like they're not like secure within themselves? That's why they have to find the security in another person in a relationship?
Mm, yeah, I guess you can say that lah. But when someone, I would say when someone is clingy, it's mostly because they are trying to find they're trying to pursue something they don't have in another person. That's why
Correct.
they're
Yeah.
so clingy, ma. That's why they go to someone else for like uh I don't attention or whatever lah, whatever needs they whatever needs that it needs to be fulfilled. But in the cause I took psych, like intro to psych, a very very like shallow one. So like in psych we learn that when someone is clingy there is like attachment styles.
Yeah.
So like basically when someone grows up um being a mommy's boy, right, or like daddy's boy, daddy's girl, whatever lah, is because when they
What the
when they grow up, when while they were growing up, they didn't have a father figure or a mother
Correct.
figure,
Yeah.
so that's
Okay,
why they look for these kind of things in the partner.
that's true.
When the girl is taking care of you a lot, or when the guy is taking care of you a lot, so that it there's a lot of factors lah, being clingy and things like that. But I think being clingy, um, you can also be self sufficient lah. It's just that it's hard law, I would say, because you always want to you will always want your need to be fulfilled,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time you're telling yourself no, I'm fine.
Right,
I'm good by myself, the kind of thing.
right. Yeah. And I think like maybe just to bring it back, right? Do you think it's possible for a person, or do you think it's healthy for a person to remain single like forever, that kind of thing? Cause like okay, like I don't know about you. I feel like you said people like can be like 50, 60 years old, like
Yeah.
people who are like they're just whatever, and like maybe like celibacy is like their calling or something, or
Mm.
what. Yeah, but I don't know, just for me, I just feel like no one can be single forever. Like I don't think I feel like there's a line when it comes to self-sufficiency. I feel like no one can be as like self-sufficient to the extent that they don't need anyone else. They just like
Yeah.
can do life by themselves and
Correct.
that kind of thing. Because like ultimately we're all built for community and we
Correct,
need to
yeah.
like have people around us, whether it's like romantically or just like friends or whatnot, you know.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I just want to direct this question to Anthony. What are your thoughts about celibacy?
I would say I would want celibacy because I wouldn't have to spend so much time and effort on building a relationship. Because I think for me right now, I'm in a place where I've been through a lot of hurts, even just from simple friendships alone. So it's like to put in so much more effort into something else that's more serious and requires more commitment, I guess it will be a very big step. That's why I would say I choose to be a celibate or for life, you know. Like I don't mind not having a wife because in the end, like I can be a single father, I can have my own family, I can adopt my own kids. I can I guess be
Okay.
self-sufficient in that way where I can still be connected to like my family, my friends, my kids without having like a significant other to like rant to or talk to, because I feel like in a marriage covenant in a covenant of marriage, um it's just more special compared to friendships because you have um you have like a certificate to prove that your relationship is something that's valid.
Okay.
So for me, I would see myself becoming a celibate because I have a lot of friends that I can rely on and talk to lah about anything and everything. Doesn't have to be, I don't have to fulfill that physical intimacy, but as long as I have the emotional side of it, I am okay. Yeah.
Okay. So just to put it bluntly, do you want to be a celibate?
I want to because I want to save my money for myself.
It makes sense, lah. It makes
I'm
sense.
very selfish. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. True, true, true. Do you think like we're in the phase nowadays where people are just like relationships are like a thing of the past? People just want to be
No.
celibates or whatever.
Ooh.
I don't know. No, I feel like honestly, I just feel like the world nowadays is like okay lah, let's not go into
Which part of the world you
no,
in?
as in like everyone is just like, you know, open. Like I feel like relationships are now more like people. I mean, especially in the West lah, people are just
Oh
like
yeah.
open relationship that kind of thing, and like relationship is no longer a very like
Intimate thing,
in-
right?
intimate, like Anthony mentioned, like covenant and everything ma. Like it's between like one man and one wife, that kind of thing. I mean that's what us as as Christians believe and that kind of thing lah. And people are just like all over the place and everything. So yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah, and it's like what I mean is like polygamy and stuff like that lah.
Mm.
I don't know where we're going with this, but yeah, I mean I've known, like back on the topic of like celibacy and everything. Like, I've
Yeah.
known people who like choose not to become single, or are actually single, not cause like they want to become single, but it's cause they put themselves in a situation that they are forced to be single. Like basically their standards are too high, right?
Okay.
I
Okay.
feel like sometimes single people are single because they have unrealistic standards about like the opposite sex, or basically the person that they want to, like the type of person they want to date,
True.
right? So what do you guys think about that?
I've never encountered such human beings before, but
Really, man?
I've heard of, but for me to like talk to that person, right? I've never actually I don't know. I never
Cause-
noticed it. you
Okay,
know.
honestly for me when I was younger, right, just to share, my like I wouldn't say my standards were pretty high, but I had that ideal type of girl that I wanted to date. Like when I was younger, I feel like I was very westernized, you know. So my mind was set on like dating angmo, you know. Like honestly, when I was younger, like 13-year-old me, I don't know if Isaac knows this, but like I would say that like when I grew up, I want to date angmo with like blonde hair, blue eyes, and like I don't know, move to the US or something like that. And I think that it's just like a lot of people are just single and everything because they have this like unrealistic expectation that they're gonna get. But then I think the thing I find like growing up is that there is no perfect person.
Correct.
There's no
Yeah.
perfect girl or there's no perfect guy. And like you just have to learn to compromise, man. I feel like some people just can't compromise and
Correct.
everything. Yeah. And what about the fear of like intimacy or like being vulnerable in a relationship? Do you think the reason why some people are single is because they're just not willing to be vulnerable or something? Do you guys have any experience in that regard?
I wouldn't say being vulnerable. Maybe it is because maybe in like their past relationship they open up this once, and then even like being in a relationship with someone, then like the person just share with their best friends. But let's say lah, this girl open up to this guy, and the girl doesn't really open up to anyone, and the guy just tells all his best friend about what the girl tells him lah.
Okay.
So like being in a relationship, it's supposed to be like I from my point of view, I think it's supposed to be whatever is said in the relationship stays in the relationship ma.
Right.
Like that's how much someone trusts you to even open up to you, and that person doesn't really open up to anyone else but you. So I think like that plays a part in future relationships, where if they ever broke up, or and if like I don't know, if the girl finds someone else, maybe, or even if the girl doesn't want to look for a relationship that soon, maybe it's because she became too vulnerable, then that's why there's like this fear lah. But I
Yeah.
think I don't know, maybe also like I wouldn't say the standards they set are too high also, but it's just that their ideal, so-called ideal type of boy doesn't match their, I mean, okay, the
Unrealistic-
boy doesn't match their ideal type of boy.
Unrealistic expectations lah, in
Yeah,
a sense.
and I say commitment also one more thing lah,
Okay.
which I think it's it's a very, what's the word for it it's a very respectable kind of thing, because first of all, you can't commit. That's why you don't you choose to be single for now ma, until
Yeah.
you know you can commit, then only you go ma, right?
Mm.
But I think some people even though they know they cannot commit, but they still go for it. That one
Yeah.
is a bit, it's like, you cannot commit, then why do you choose to do it, like get into a relationship? It's like no point lah. Yeah.
Okay. And what about you?
I think I can really testify for the commitment and the one on vulnerability. I'm pretty sure I hurt my ex when I was like 12 really, really badly, because she opened up to me a lot about her family, how her parents were divorcing, and how she, as like the eldest child, has to like take care of her younger siblings and all that. And for me, at a young age of like 12, I never really understood like how big or like how much sacrifice she had to make to like to tell me all that on her heart. And I only realized this like this year when I was like, looking through my chats on Messenger on Facebook, that I actually shut her out so many times. By the time when I wanted to look for her for my side of my ranting or like me being vulnerable, she would reply the same thing. And over the years, right, I always thought like she was the one who did me dirty. But looking back, I know it was me because I didn't know how to properly commit to a relationship. And I don't know if this is related, but I hope it's not. But after a year we broke up, someone wanted to invite her to church, and they were telling me like, oh, like our friend has like depression, and she's on meds and she cannot sleep without meds and all that, and she was almost going to drop out of high school and all that.
Right.
And when I heard about it, I was like, wow, so awkward, like need to ask my ex to come to church. And I don't know if I'm the one who caused all the hurt and all the pain, right? And I saw her like during uni reopened when it was March, and I wanted to like talk to her about everything that went on. But it was just like a very scary moment because I didn't want to identify my mistakes. So I wanted to phase out and plan like, oh, maybe I will catch up with her over this situation in like October or November.
Wait, this year?
This is this year,
This year,
correct.
okay.
And the next thing I knew was that she finished her A levels
shucks.
and she's now studying in England and she has another boyfriend. And this is her first new relationship after me, after a period of 7 years.
Right.
So looking back and after knowing what I did,
Excuse me.
I guess after today, I would probably maybe draft like an apology text to like really let her know that I feel really bad for hurting her and not meeting up to her expectations because I was a jerk lah, even though I thought she was the jerk all along. And I really hope that when she goes into this new relationship, all the past hurts and expectations that she has on me will be fulfilled by another guy. Yeah.
Right. Wow. That's like character development right there. And I just think that in that situation, it's like, I mean, it's unfortunate what happened to her lah, right? And I'm sorry to hear that she had to go through so much pain and everything.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, it brings up a good point that it is good that she sort of waited a period of 7 years before getting into a new relationship. Because I know a lot of people that they jump from one relationship to the next
Yeah,
to
that,
sort
Yeah.
of like
that was something I'm gonna ask also.
To sort of
I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask like,
ask what, yeah.
is it, cause for Anthony's case, it took the girl 7 years, right?
Correct.
But for some girls, it's like, it's like after I break up, then like 1 month or 1 week even, then I'm like, oh, I can find. I'm gonna look for another one, you know. So is it number one? Is it a mature thing to do?
Right.
Because it can be that fast for that person to overcome, right? Because it varies for a person to get over a breakup, but it also depends on the situation, lah. So is it a mature thing to do, or number two, is it just being a total like an ass? Because from like even a guy or a girl's perspective, right, to see your ex suddenly go into like another relationship in what, few weeks, you'd be like, huh?
Yeah.
That means it didn't really mean anything lah, the relationship.
Yeah.
That, you know. Yeah. So that's my question.
Okay, honestly, if I can take it first, right? Okay, because like we had this previous episode where we talk about heartbreak and everything, right?
Yeah.
Check it out if you haven't yet. Yes, thank you very much. But yeah, I honestly really don't get how people can move on from a relationship so quickly. Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, I get the fact that it varies from person to person.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like it's a bit too extreme, man. Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. What do you think, Anne? Is it? I feel like I got a lot to say about this. You look very like ready to like spout tea.
I know a couple, both of them, both the guy and the girl, moved on after like less than 6 weeks.
Eh?
And the funniest thing about them moving on to the next person was the next person in the relationship and the ex looked really similar, like physically, like they really looked similar. I didn't know that it was another person until I found out, it's not his Instagram account, it's another person. And I was like,
I think because wear mask, then the top half of the face
actually,
look the
it's
same.
not very much. This was like in 2017, 2018. I would tell you the names,
bro. Huh?
but like,
Oh. Off camera.
yeah,
It's okay,
I'll
not
tell you
now.
off camera who they are. But it was really funny. And I approached the girl because I was closer to the girl, like, oh, what's happening? Why are you moving on so quick?
Yeah.
And it was just very, like, her justification for it was like, oh, I just need someone to care for me and to give me attention for now. That's why I chose this person. And coincidentally, he looked alike like my ex lah. But
Man.
to me, when she said that, it felt like the looks was all that mattered to her.
Right.
And unfortunately, like those relationships, when they moved on so hastily, they didn't last for more than 3 months lah. So I feel like when you move on so quickly, it builds up a lot of denial because
Yeah.
you are either escaping from the fact that you screwed up the relationship or the other person screwed up your relationship, and you hide that and you move on to another relationship carrying that hurt and that expectation like, oh, maybe this next person will be better, not knowing that you're not able to commit yourself fully anymore because of your hurt and you haven't recovered from that. So I feel like people like that are not asses, but they just haven't thought it through on their part and for the other party as well. And to sum it up, I would say they're just very insensitive and inconsiderate and
Right.
just using people as rebounds. Yeah.
Right. So basically, to answer his question, in your opinion, they're immature and everything.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insensitive lah.
It's true. I agree, honestly. Because, like basically, like, we've been repeating this over and over again during this episode. If you're not ready to get into another relationship, then just don't. Because you end up hurting so many people. Because you might carry your baggage, your own personal baggage from the previous relationship into this current one. And you sort of like mess everything up again. Then it's like a cycle, right? And dominoes start falling and everything. So I guess it's just unfair lah to the other person, and like, yeah, basically back to what you said. I really don't get like people who like they just go on and on and on. Cause like you said, I agree that you have to have a period of like reflection first after a relationship ends to sort of see like what went wrong, that kind of thing. I know I'm saying it in a very like um practical kind of way. I know there's a lot of emotions involved and everything, but it's true that you have to set aside some time to just like think everything through first before like you're ready to be back on the market
Yeah.
or something like that. Because honestly, yeah, 2 to 3 weeks is just too fast.
Yeah.
Too fast for me.
True lah.
Yeah. Do you guys, okay, base off of that, right? Like you mentioned rebounds just now and everything. Have you guys actually heard like any rebound success stories? Like I know we often think that rebounds are like a bad thing. Like rebounds are just like, oh, you just like getting into a relationship to sort of escape like your past relationship or escape like the past failures in the past relationship. But I actually know of people, like, I mean, I don't know in detail lah. Maybe you guys have more stories to share, that actually things worked out, like even though the person started off as a rebound.
I'm trying to think.
Such a hard question to answer.
No, I mean, like, if you all have, then have lah. Don't have, then don't have. But it's true, you know, because I mean, like, basically these kind of things cannot plan one lah.
I would like
Right.
to think there is a successful story. I mean, they haven't get married lah, so maybe they will become a failure in the end, and all that. But I have seen some people using others as their rebound. They have like that very sweet honeymoon period.
Yeah.
But after that, they have multiple arguments or multiple breaks in between, and then they come back stronger. So I feel like that is one that is very, it's very subjective because it really depends on how, during that break, how both parties view the relationship and whether or not they want to continue on or just lead like their lives separately, right? So I feel like there can be a success story, but that success has to be determined by marriage law as the end goal. For now, I cannot say they are really 100% successful. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, like, it's possible lah, right? Like
Yeah,
rebounds.
definitely possible.
But okay, so we have to establish that whether a relationship is successful or not is if it ends with in marriage, is it? Or what? Like, what's your standard for like a successful relationship for you guys?
I think successful relationship doesn't necessarily need to be marriage lah. Although because I mean marriage is like the
Then
everything that glues the whole relationship together ma. It's like what Anthony said earlier, the covenant that marriage has. It's like you're married, then there is things that you cannot do already ma. But if you're not married, then there is, I mean, there's other things that bound to happen lah, right? But I think for me, how I look at a successful relationship is that if both parties are happy and if they can resolve some, and if they can resolve a problem that quickly, then I think it's a successful relationship lah. Cause you can from something bad happening, like let's say both parties gone into an argument, right? And if both of them can come out like, oh, I know that I'm I'm wrong for doing this, and he or she is known for doing something wrong. So they both acknowledge it. They both acknowledge that problem well,
Mm.
and they can resolve it. Then I think that's a successful relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I guess maybe just one last like point or one last question to wrap it up, right? Do you think a lot of people are single or have become single or are choosing to become single for the long term because they have this fear of like intimacy, fear of like letting people in, that kind of thing. Not a physical intimacy, right? But emotional intimacy. Because I feel like with the whole lockdown and the whole MCO thing, right? It's sort of like
Yeah, you
people
got
sort
your
of
own.
forget to how to relate to one another, and like
Correct, yeah.
you have your own world,
Mm-hmm.
right? You like living in your own room, like facing the same four walls, like
Yeah,
for 1 year already.
Mm.
So yeah, because like a relationship involves a lot of like intimacy, like we mentioned just now, vulnerability and everything. Do you think a lot of people are like just afraid
Mm,
of
I
opening up?
I think I wouldn't say a lot, but there still is.
Mm-hmm.
Because personally going through like what 1 year staying at home, I also don't know how to talk to people anymore, man. Like what? How many 6 months of not seeing like everyone, um, and like suddenly, I mean, there's some people, right? I don't know how they do it. So long of staying at home, then they can come out like, oh my god, let's do this. Let's go out. Let's do this now. Let's do this.
Yeah,
Let's
especially
go
now
here.
that
Let's go
everything's
there.
opening up,
Let's
right?
go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, your friends are all like
And
adjucting you and
yeah,
like
and I'm like, bro, relax a bit, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like COVID cases are still high, lah, but still, there's like some people who are like they straight away like, okay, once lockdown is over, I'm going out to see my friends, that kind of thing. But I think coming back to whether the person is scared about vulnerability, or what's the other one?
intimacy.
Intimacy. I think um still got all there's still people like the reason why they stay single for now is because maybe um they are still not used to how someone is, I would say, physically there for them lah. Because throughout
Correct.
1 year it's like text message. If not text message, then it's Zoom. If it's not Zoom, then other like platforms lah, right?
Yeah,
So I think
but I feel it's not just physically; it's more of like emotionally as well.
I mean, if you text, there's some part of emotionally
Being
what
intimate. I mean,
intimacy over there.
you can just text, but you're not really like
Yeah, so that's
sharing
why
that kind of thing, you know.
like you no need to look at the person. You can just be yourself and like text. But with the person being in the same room as you and you opening up is a total different
Correct.
thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like you text, you can text like however freely you want, right? But being, let's say, if you go out cafe and you meet someone, you need to take into account like, oh, is like the person sitting next to me like hearing hearing this, or like I don't know, is that person really comfortable listening to my story?
So like
Because
social etiquettes, that kind
yeah,
of thing,
yeah,
lah. Just
because
like
like
social cues.
like
Okay.
how on Telegram you can just hold on person, then you can just preview, right? So yeah, you can like I don't know, maybe some people they hold and preview, then you're like, okay, let me prepare myself for this, and I click into it and then I reply. I don't
true.
know. Yeah,
true
so
though.
there's like a
I
lot of
use it a
things.
lot.
So I'll say, to answer your question, I'll say 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah, 50-50 lah.
Okay. What about you, Anne?
Can you rephrase the question?
Okay, like the question is not really are people afraid of intimacy? Let's just assume like there are people who are afraid of intimacy and everything. It's more like why? Like, do you think it's because of like just like you mentioned just now, lockdown, or do you think it's like I don't know.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I think one thing I wanted to bring up just now was being vulnerable doesn't mean you're intimate. Because like what Adrian said, you can be vulnerable through text and you have that emotional vulnerability. But when it comes to intimacy, there must be some sort of physical element to it. It doesn't have to be a touch or whatever, but
Yeah.
that physical presence means a lot to
Yeah.
people. And I feel like people coming out of lockdown, like I'm pretty sure a lot of people have been practicing some sort of vulnerability through text emotionally. But coming out of it, they're still in this mindset of choosing to become single or stay single because they've forgotten what it's like to be intimate physically.
Yeah.
And without that intimacy, you cannot move on to emotional because you're still so locked up within like your own world.
Yeah.
You are so caught up within your own feelings. You forget what it's like to be in touch with other people and to hear what they have to say. So in the end, I feel like vulnerability and intimacy is like both very separate things. I feel like I am someone who is very vulnerable, but when it comes to intimate, there can only be a few instances or towards a few people. Yeah.
Do you think this whole idea of like intimacy and vulnerability, I know you mentioned they're two separate things, but do you think this is something that is inherent within a person? Do you think it's do you think some people are just wired differently? Do you think a person can sort of be like how to say,
As in like
you can
lockdown
learn how
meet
to
that
be intimate,
person.
you can like, yeah, I know it's sort of like for me, I would say that I'm I would say that I'm not like, okay, I'm not closed up. Okay, let's just put it that way. I'm not like, I share and like I can be vulnerable with people and everything. But I know lockdown has put me in a space where like I don't need to interact with other people and I'm self-sufficient in that sense, in my own world, that kind of thing. But as a person, naturally, I'm like, I can be vulnerable and I can be intimate with a person in a relationship, that kind of thing. Do you think some people are just not wired that way? Do you think some people are just like, this kind of thing can teach one?
Not
You can like teach,
teach, but
but
like
yeah.
what Adrian said on like psychologically, we are all intimate people. We are made for intimacy. So you just need to practice becoming more intimate with people. It depends on how you want to become intimate. It can be through like the 5 love languages.
Right.
But I think the most intimate would definitely be physical touch, be like a hug
Yeah.
or a kiss or more than that. That is the one that helps people to practice the most on how to open up and to, I guess, sense things, not just
Okay,
with like their
let's
heart,
not go there. Okay.
but
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
So I feel like when you practice to become more intimate with people, that's when I guess you can have better and stronger relationships because the other party can feel that you are being genuine. You have nothing to hide, and you're really putting in effort, and the other party wouldn't mind reciprocating your efforts as well. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Adrian?
I wouldn't say like what Anthony said. I wouldn't say it's like you need to teach someone to be like that. But
Yeah,
I
maybe
do
teach was
feel
the
like
wrong word, but like it's just like,
yeah.
you know.
But I do feel like being in lockdown does contribute to how someone
Relates.
relates to what intimacy or how they how or what okay or what their love language is. Like being at home is like it can mean so many things. Cause like um what how many months? 6 months, 7 months soon. Maybe you haven't seen like someone, then it's like it's been so long since like you have received uh even just like that from a girl.
Yeah.
And it can mean so much even if a girl just like do like that. Like, ooh, a girl touched me after like 7 months.
Okay, let's not go there. But yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. I feel like lockdown does contribute to how I mean for Malaysians like at least or cause like what we have been in lockdown for 1 year, man, close to 1 year, right? And I feel like for most of us it does contribute to how we look at love, how we look at intimacy, how we
Yeah.
look at relationship, how we look at I don't
Yeah.
know, different kind of things because we have been in our own room by ourselves for so long. And I think yeah, being afraid of a relationship because of you being too scared to commit, too scared to open up, too scared to, I don't know, even touch someone else on the hand or even
Okay.
like hold hands.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, true.
it
Cause
plays a
like,
part. Yeah.
scared of virus and everything.
I mean, not
Yeah.
just virus lah, but there's like a lot of emotional side to it also. So yeah, lor.
Yeah. I mean, just tying it back to like self-sufficiency and everything. I think based on what all of us have talked about, to me, I feel like it's also a choice whether you want to let other people in. Because like talking about like what do you call lockdown MCU and everything and not seeing another person for so long. I know of a lot of like people who are still doing LDR during that time. And their relationship is still going like pretty no, pretty okay, you maybe you know.
I know one that's
They're falling apart, is it?
I think they've broken up already. I don't know, man.
Okay,
So
okay.
like
Basically, LDR couples are going through like some crap.
rough
Yeah,
time,
rough
lah.
time.
But I know one that's like damn strong lah. I don't know how they do it, but
Same.
I'm like,
Correct,
jeez,
correct,
respect,
correct.
man.
Yeah.
But like I mean, okay, just to share a bit lah. I wanted to share this when we were talking about rebound also. So basically, this happened in high school, right? So like this couple, they were together and they were like damn touchy one, back in high school.
Okay.
So that I would assume that is their love language lah, right? And then like, it was like Form 5, so it's IG season, and they broke up like I don't know 3-4 times, and then like oh my god, I heard my stomach grumble. I'm hungry.
Lunchtime,
like-
boys. Okay, anyways.
Yeah, but I see them, they break up like 3-4 times, you know. It's like 1 week you can go to school, you see them together, then the next week they're not together one. And then after like 1 month, then it's like, they're back together. Like, huh? What's happening, you know? And then after like IGs, they officially broke up. And then like few
Months late.
few weeks after that, the girl looked for another guy, which is in the same class also. Then like, wow, not bad, and then like, okay, it was going strong. And then after like recent MCO, I think April, March, May, I think, I don't know lah, I'm just assuming lah. Then like I didn't see like any both of them like posting about each other on Instagram also. Then after like quite recent, I see the girl with another guy, like she reposted another guy's story of having dinner with her. And I was like, wow, not bad with this one.
Not bad at all.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's, I don't know, maybe she's like, yeah, like what I think you had mentioned earlier, right? Like you are not, you don't dare to acknowledge you're still in denial.
Yeah,
lah, right?
correct.
Yeah, I think she's still in denial. I think lah. But yeah, it's quite interesting looking at all her Instagram stories.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for like a but then moment. Like it's like, but then she broke up with that guy and then she went back to her first
I was
her first
expecting
love
the
and
same
everything,
thing.
and they've been navigating LDR throughout MCO very well. I thought you were gonna
Oh,
end
no,
with that,
no, no.
but then like you just ended at the dinner. Then I was like, oh, okay. So it's that kind of
Yeah.
story. But yeah, I would say that, I mean, back to the LDR thing, I know a lot of couples during this time that even though they don't have that necessary physical intimacy, like you mentioned, some couples are very touchy and that kind of thing, but they still manage to like go strong and navigate. So, I mean, it shows that there's more to a relationship than just like physical touch and
Yeah.
everything. There's a
Mm,
lot
there
of
is.
emotion and a lot of like just emotional intimacy and vulnerability involved lah, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's necessary for a relationship, you know. But then, yeah, we're all single people, right? What do we know? Okay, just to wrap it up, because we've been talking for quite a while. What is one advice you would give to a single person who is currently looking for a relationship?
Wow,
As a single person,
coming from a single person.
coming from a single person
um,
who has experience lah.
I think we should get Isaac's grandmother. But I think one advice or something I would say is that you need to acknowledge your problems, acknowledge the problems you're dealing with yourselves. Oh my god, with yourself. Why did I say yourselves? But acknowledge the problem you deal with that you're dealing it with. That acknowledge the problem
Yes.
you are going through yourself.
Okay.
And
There you go.
make sure that you don't carry your carry whatever you are carrying being a single person into a relationship, and not having so much expectations on another person that he or she will fulfill everything that I ask for.
yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Because no one is really perfect, and like no one. There's a limit on lah. It's like, you cannot like
Yeah, for
suddenly
real.
this day, hey, can you come to my house today, or can I go to your house? And like, like you still need to give like that other person space to still live their own life. Even as like a couple, like um I'm pretty sure like both of the parties, they still want some alone time to themselves.
Mm.
So I think it's just respecting each other's space, and making sure that you don't bring forth the problem you have from your previous relationship into a new one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you?
I think for me, having overseen so many friends getting into relationships and their breakups, I think the advice I would give to another single person who's looking for a relationship is to be very clear and very honest with your expectations when you go into a relationship. Don't feel the need to hide anything from your partner because you want to build a trust. You want to build
Yeah.
a connection, and that connection has to be something that's genuine and not something that is built upon pretense.
Mm.
And when you do that, you defeat the purpose of having a relationship because you are not you are not your commitment isn't true, isn't raw.
Mm.
So that is one thing I would advise people to do, which is to be open and clear and honest. But don't have to tell them, like, don't have to tell your like crush or like your partner everything, like all the weird stuff lah. Like a story is like, to sum it up, like what I went through last week is like there was someone who proposed to my friend in like this entire friend group.
Proposed.
Yeah,
Marriage.
yeah.
Like
No,
Mary.
oh no, 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 no. Like just a simple confession. Oh, sorry. I mixed up confession and proposal in Chinese. But then he confessed to her, and it's like when you confess to someone who's part of a fan group, you're essentially confessing to like five people because five people are making like judgment decision based on what you said. So when that happened, I felt like the need to get to understand this person better. And I spent this entire week of like maybe 10 hours on like calls and physical meetups to get to know this person's background. And it's very surprising, right? Like I thought people coming out of MCO would be very locked up, very not vulnerable. But this person told me like almost all the shit he went through in his life. And I was like, wow, you really need a partner, but my friend isn't really the one for you because you've acted so fast and you actually told her so many things that you're not really supposed to tell when you're trying to get to know the person. Like you
Right.
don't tell someone like, wow, I don't even know if I can say this, but um, it's like you don't ask the girl like, oh, what do you think about your first sexual experience when you're trying to court this girl, like you don't say things like
Very
that.
smart lah.
It's
Very
like in
smooth.
Chinese we call it 性暗示, and that's like a form of sexual harassment. So it's like when you want to be clear and honest, don't be honest until this point. Like
It's true. Yeah.
until
Honestly.
you establish a certain connection, then only be true because you don't want to scare the person with your 100% honesty. Be honest on the things that you have to, but things that you can review afterwards, do it afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. For real. Honestly, that's just so. I would say it. Yeah, I don't mean to diss the person, but that's actually so dumb. Like, that's just like you don't just go and tell someone that. Like honestly, I feel like a lot of times relationships, like you mentioned about, um, like not letting the person like manage your expectations. Correct. I feel like a lot of times when people step into a relationship, and they don't tell their partner what they expect of them, that kind of thing, and they have the expectation in their head, they're not committing to that person. They're committing to like the expectation of that person
Yeah, correct.
in their head. Like let's say a
Yeah.
person gets into a relationship just because they want to have like a physical intimacy with them, lah, right? Like the S word and everything. But they don't say it. And then they're committing to the person because of that idea that they want to like just get into their pants, that kind of thing. But then when the person ends up like not wanting to do that and having their own values and everything, then they just throw in the towel because they're not committing to that person. They're not committing to the relationship. They're committing to like the
Yeah.
expectation that they have, that they want to
I
like.
would say they're committing to. I had the word just
The
now.
idea of the person.
Yeah. It's like it's not so much of the how nice the person is, but it's how much the person already fulfilled. So that's why he like he or she likes the feeling.
Right.
That's why they think like, oh, and then I like this person. Like
Mm.
but instead it's just I like that this person is how this person is being so responsive to me. So that's why I like you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of this kind of
It
situation
can be
before.
something you like about the person, but it cannot be like you just in the relationship because of that.
Yeah. It's like they love the feeling.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah. You
the
love the idea of like that
Yeah,
person
yeah,
and
Yeah,
like that whole thing.
correct.
Yeah. And like I think just to sum it up, to wrap it up for me, I would
That's like
feel
third time already.
my advice would be, if you're not okay being single, then you're not ready for a relationship. Like if you're not okay with yourself, like
Yeah.
being like single by yourself, living life by yourself, then I would say that you're not ready for a relationship. Because like for a relationship, I believe it's not like a half and half come together to become like one piece of the puzzle. It's like a whole and a whole come together and they like
Whole.
They
Yeah.
form a bigger whole. Like a pancake, a pancake, a sandwich. I don't know where I was
Yeah.
going with that actually. But yeah. So yeah, if you're watching, don't get into a relationship if you just want something out of it. Get into a relationship because you're ready. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So I think that's all the time we have for today. If
Yeah.
you guys stayed to the end, I'm sure you all got a load of wisdom from this podcast. But thank you so much for watching. If you like, yeah, thanks Anthony for being on the show.
Thank you for having.
Yes, we'll get him back for another episode sometime in the future. But thank you all for watching. If you like it, be sure to like and subscribe. Turn on the post notification, the bell thingy, so you're notified when we post all our videos. Follow us on Instagram at everythingunderthesun.pod. And you can listen to our podcast on audio form on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So, yes, thank you all for watching again. I think that's all from us today. Hope to see you next week with a brand new one. Bye.
Bye.